sprints out. Looking. Stops. In trouble, and he gets decked at the 30-yard line. Wow. What a hit. And that's Perrion Winfrey. Here's Mertz. In the pocket, and he gets crushed. Wow. Daxton Hill shot out of a cannon.
The reverse into the hands of Presley. Presley, the wide receiver, just got lit up. J.L. Skinner laying the wood.
Welcome to Devy IDP Grind. I am Hollywood Titan. I'm joined by my co-host Justice. What's going on, my friend?
Not much, man. It's Friday night. College football's on. It's a great day.
Yeah, typically we do this on Mondays, but we had some issues, so we're doing this Friday night. We got a couple games going. Louisville and Florida State. Wyoming versus forget who they're.
Air Force.
Wyoming versus Air Force. Yes, Wyoming versus Air Force. So if you got any of those players, excuse me, hopefully you got those queued into your starting lineups already. If not, don't worry. We're here to save you. Brock couldn't join us tonight. He's a little busy.
Get ready to watch Nebraska whoop up on Oklahoma tomorrow.
Yes. You know what? I hope they do. I really hope they do. I hope the Huskers just absolutely throttle them. Will it happen? Yeah, odds are not in their favor, right? But
maybe they'll be pumped up, No more Scott Frost. Don't have to worry about him anymore.
You've seen this with a coaching change. Sometimes when a new coach is out or a new regime is out, the next man up as far as coaching kind of intrigues or pumps the team up. So we'll see. So we're running just a tad behind this week. The news and notes: former 5-star linebacker Terrence Lawrence from UCF Terrence Lewis, sorry, UCF has entered the transfer portal once again. He had originally committed to Maryland before transferring this January of this year to UCF. In May of this year, he was booked and charged with domestic battery, but the charges were later dropped.
Just not a bad all around, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah,
and before he went to UCF, he was a former Tennessee Vol, right? So he's moved around 2, 3, 4 times.
He's probably done worn out his welcome in big time football. So
I mean, even though he's a highly recruited player, you're right. The welcome mat has been pulled. Good luck to you, kid. Go find what you can. All IDP name team candidate alert. Duke has a linebacker named Memorable Factor. In addition to that's his name, Memorable Factor. In addition to football, he plays rugby and is on the rowing team for the Duke Blue Devils.
That's a pretty cool name, right?
Right? Memorable Factor.
It sounds like a horse that would win the Kentucky Derby or something.
Right. I think we could easily put 3 names together, right? Memorable Factor, Bumper Pool, and what's his
Kool-Aid.
name? Coors.
Buck Coors.
Kool-Aid, McKinstry. I think we could put a top 4 or 5 together real easily for a horse race. So, but yeah, check him out. The ACC coaching news, rumors of Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime, to Georgia Tech.
That's a little
Dabo
surprising, right?
Swinney. I think so, too.
I mean, you would think Florida State would be all over him, but I guess they're happy with Norvell. So,
well, I kind of wonder what the eligibility of Shamir is, right? His son.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was a freshman last year, a sophomore this year. So,
yep. So he'd have 2 years left.
He would have, well, maybe 3 because of the COVID year.
Well, no, because last year didn't count as a COVID year. Last year was a regular year, right? Yeah, last year was a regular year, so that counted.
Right. You are correct. So, if Coach Prime were to, let's say, go to Georgia Tech, there's no penalty from moving up or moving down. I think Shakur could follow him real easily for 2 years. So,
yeah. You know, that would eat up Florida State fans, man, if he went to Georgia Tech.
That'd set them on fire. That would set them on fire. Dabo Swinney agrees to a contract extension through 2031, which is 9 years from now. So,
you got to lock them up for the recruits, though, right? I mean, that's kind of important for recruits. They want to know who they're playing for.
You know, I think so. Recruiting-wise, future-wise, building with his background, what he's done in the past, I think that makes sense, right? Kind of a weaker conference nowadays with all the expansion and transfer teams moving.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. Michigan State linebacker / defensive back Darius Snow is out for the season, and safety Xavier Henderson will be out a significant amount of time due to an injury. That's 2 huge blows. I mean, to lose one of them is pretty significant.
But to lose both starting of them, defensive backs or safeties.
Yes. Yeah, that's huge.
Angelo Gross time.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, it's one thing to lose one, and there was a lot of hope for Darius Snow, right?
Right, because he was kind of their in the box kind of safety, a linebacker hybrid guy.
Yeah. So to lose him, you're kind of moving Henderson down in his spot, and then to lose him, they kind of put you behind the 8 ball a little bit, right?
Oh yeah.
Arkansas safety Jalen Catalon is out for the season as he has shoulder surgery following an injury.
Man, like that dude
he was considered one of the best safeties in the country.
I know. I had him on my All-American team, my preseason All-American team.
Yes.
Yeah, man, he just can't. It's like he can't catch a break. You know, he had that awesome first year, and then like the last 2 years has been nothing but injuries. So I just wonder what he's going to do. Is he going to come back to college another year, or is he going to try to go to the NFL, even with the injury history, or what? You know?
Yeah, I mean it. I guess if he could get the medical red shirt this early.
Well, he wouldn't need one. I mean, he still has at least 1 year of eligibility left without the medical red shirt.
He does, but if you needed the medical red shirt as well, and I don't know which one. That's a good question because which one takes priority, right? The medical red shirt.
He would just play, right? He would just play,
right?
And then they'll pick because it's not like he's out of eligibility. He still has at least 1 year left, so it would seem to me like he would play while they work on a medical red shirt for the following year. But if he comes back next year and does what he's supposed to do, he ain't coming back anyway. He's going to the NFL.
Very true. But he always has that one bullet in his pocket, right? With the COVID year, you do what you do this year. If you really needed to, I think the medical red shirt is an additional option. So,
right.
So we're going back to, hold on. South Carolina linebacker Muhammad Kaba and defensive end Jordan Strachan are both out for the season with torn ACLs. And I know Jordan Strachan is a transfer last year, right?
Right. Yeah. They were expecting
Georgia,
big things. He didn't do too much last year, so.
Right. And I mean, he was a huge pass rusher 2 years ago for
Georgia State, right?
Georgia State, yes. 8.5 sacks. So, you know, the Gamecocks were expecting him to come in and make an impact last season, and it didn't quite happen.
Right.
And now you got the
they
injury.
Lost Kingsley and Nagaberry last, you know. So I think they expected him to be the man this year, and now he's hurt.
Right. So, you know, 2 huge blows for them. Kind of going back to where I was talking about for a minute ago, Clemson linebacker Sergio Allen has entered the transfer portal. He was a 4-star, number 12 inside linebacker for the 2022 class or 2020 class. And then you've got, well, we got some more here. Clemson defensive end Xavier Thomas and defensive tackle Tyler Davis have been out with injuries this past week. Thomas and Davis are reportedly close to being back, healthy, and ready to go, but they will not be rushed back and will not play until they're 100%, which I get, but kind of tying into this last one, Brian Breesy, right, stepped away from the team after the game on Furman to spend time with his family, and God bless him. All prayers to him. His sister Ella was battling brain cancer, and she passed away Wednesday. So, you know, they're going to be without Brian. Right?
Yeah, I would expect.
So.
I mean, I think Dabo said it's up to him whether he wants to play or not. But I would certainly expect he won't be there.
I would expect him not to be there, but we've seen stranger things, right? Hey, this is how my dad or my brother or my mother or sister, they'd want me to play. If you can get that late game info that he's playing, I think you play. I really do. I think if you can find that.
Yeah, if he's going to play, I think you do play him, right? Because he's probably going to be fired up.
Yeah, we all know how hard it is to find that late game info, especially for college, right? We know how
even
hard
harder
it
for
is
defensive guys.
Yes, even harder for defensive guys. So I think if you can find that confirmation that he's playing, then you plug him in your lineups, you let it roll. But if not, you got to take him out. Then you got to look at Xavier Thomas, Tyler Davis. I think KJ Henry is the big benefactor, right?
Yeah.
He's the huge dude right now. If all those guys are out or injured and missed, he's the big guy. And he had a big game last week. So
KJ he had a good game first week too.
Yeah, he did. Florida linebacker Ventrell Miller will not play this weekend against South Florida while he recovers from a lower body injury suffered in the Kentucky game. That's a big blow for their defense.
Yeah, and they're not really deep at linebacker, I don't think. So
no, they're not.
I mean, it'd be maybe we'll get to see some Shamar James, right? Five-star freshman.
You would think so. Maybe
Wingo.
Derek Wingo, because this is his freshman, sophomore. This should be his junior year, so I guess he's technically classified as a sophomore still due to the COVID year, but we've not seen a ton from him, right? Not seen anything from him. So speaking of Wingo, I had him in a couple places. I dropped him, right? I cut bait, picked up some free agent, and I hate to do that because I think he's a talented kid, but I think when you're take out the COVID year, just disregard that bullshit. I think when you're entering your junior year, year 3, and
But
you've
if you're not
not kind
hitting
of
by
made that
then something ain't right,
right, you've not made that impact. You've really kind of got to look at cutting bait. And so I had him in a couple of leagues, and I'm like, he's a really talented player. Just needed the opportunity, right? Kind of buried on the
Yep.
depth chart, but he's still not getting the playing time. So he's a player that I'm cutting cautiously. I'll say, you know, I feel like I'm cursed sometimes. I feel like I cut a player, and then the very next week
they go ham, right? They go crazy.
They go ham and kicking ass and just have a hell of a game. But and then the big news: Scott Frost, head coach for Nebraska, was fired this week. I know me, you, and Chop, especially Chop, because that's his team, right?
Yeah.
We talked about this. They had 7, 8 games within a touchdown or less last year.
A lot.
Yeah.
And then losing at home to Georgia Southern, man, that is not a good look. Speaking of which, that's the Sun Belt, man. The Sun Belt Beast is what I'm gonna start calling them. They had a huge week last week.
Oh, did they ever? I mean, before we get to that, Nebraska goes overseas playing Northwestern, who they've got some good pieces, Evan Hull, Bryce Gallagher, whatever.
Coco Azima.
Yeah, but they had opportunities to win that game, right? And they just
sure. Right?
They just
like the onside kick. Like what were you thinking? Like you're winning the game.
What
you
doing,
had momentum on your
because
it was right after that Anthony Grant big run, right?
Right.
So
and Grant is a player that I felt like they should capitalize.
You had the momentum and you totally squashed it all.
Right. You got a player like Grant, you got the momentum, ride him into the ground. Right or wrong, you ride Grant, right?
Yeah.
Even since that game, we've seen what he's been able to do. So I know Chop is kind of heartbroken. I'm a huge Nebraska fan, right? And I'm like,
yeah,
I thought this was a perfect fit. I thought Scott Frost was the right hire for them, especially what he did back in his playing days. You bring him back home. He knows how to win. He knows what it takes to win, right? And it just never came
to. He was a good recruiter and all that, Nebraska.
Right, boy. It just never came to fruition, and I hate it for him. I really do. I don't know where Nebraska goes from here. Right, we've heard a lot of names.
It's. I think the problem is a lot of the names. Like, I don't know why they leave. Right, I mean. They're in as good they're probably in as good a spot now as what Nebraska is. So,
well, I think you've got to have that.
Like, why would Matt Campbell leave Iowa State? Right? Like
I get that.
He's got it made at Iowa State. Why would Fickle leave Cincinnati?
Why would you go lateral or less? Right.
Right.
But what about a Chadwell? Right.
Yeah.
I think that's
from Coastal Carolina up to Nebraska.
And I kind of equate Nebraska to Tennessee, right? Because we were on that same path, that same trajectory, just shitty ass freaking coaches for a while. Freaking Derek Dooley, and then you brought in just Butch Jones, and it was horrible. I think that's kind of where Nebraska is too. So I kind of think
the thing, like with Chadwell, it makes sense, right? But I don't know that I don't know that he would lead them to where they want to be. You know what I mean? Like, I think he
really?
Could probably.
You don't think so?
Yeah, he's. I don't know. I think he's like an 8-5 kind of guy.
Okay, so and I'm with you. I'm feeling you, right?
I mean, he's a good coach. I'm not disagreeing. I just don't know that he's gonna
if you're
Bring
Trev
them to the
Alberts,
promised land, so to speak.
right? So if you're Trev Alberts, who has a big influence, Tom Osborne, where are you going? Who are you looking at? Because
Well,
it's
I mean, I
going to
think
be
that's
hard.
where the Campbell rumors come from. That's where like Fickle.
That's going to be a hard pull.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be a freaking
hard.
hard pull. So if you
another
can't
name
get
that
Campbell,
I heard
where are
is,
you going?
I've heard Dave Doran from NC State, but to me, he's kind of like Chadwell. He's a good coach, but he ain't taking you to the promised land. He's gonna get you 8-9 wins, and then every now and then he'll get up to 10, maybe.
Right.
And he's not a bad coach, but he's not. I don't see him
Exactly.
as the end all be all, taking you to competing for a Big Ten title.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I get it because Tennessee's been there, right? Derek Dooley, you had Lane Kiffin, who, let me pause for a minute. Seriously, Lane Kiffin, right? Had he stayed, Tennessee would have been a winner.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, they'd have won some games. Tennessee would have been back on point quickly. Now, all the behind the scenes, the violations.
All the bull crap, right.
Right. I think we'd have been in some major trouble. But as far as coaching, Lane Kiffin, he was the guy, right? He was the guy. And
yeah.
I think when he left abruptly, that's why everybody, Fall fans, that's why they were so pissed off, because they knew, right? They knew he was the guy right away. And then you bring in Butch Jones, you bring in Jeremy
Pruitt,
which was just a, pardon my language, just a fucking shit show, right?
I think Heupel. I think he's going to do good there.
I do too.
I mean,
and I like
the biggest thing.
hire.
The biggest thing is the defense for him, right? Like, I think he treats like. I think he's an offensive guy, which is great from a fan perspective, right?
He is an offensive guy, and I think he kind of shies away from defense, but defensively, right?
Well, hopefully he's smart enough to hire people to help him on the defensive side.
Right. Defensively, Tennessee was just freaking so talent deprived, not just defensively, but offensively. They were just so talent deprived overall after Dooley. You know what? I'm just going to say it right now. I'm surprised Tennessee still has a damn football program after Dooley, because we were bad, dude. We were, very bad. Like Division II bad. It was horrible what he did. I know Butch Jones had his mistakes or whatever, but he was an 8-9 win guy, right?
Yeah.
He at least got us back in the conversation. And then you bring in Jeremy Pruitt and
well, you look at Nebraska, they had the same thing with Pelini, right? He was kind of an 8-9-5 win guy. That wasn't good enough.
But
he had some.
I wish Brock was here
kind of
with us right now, because
he was a little rough around the edges as far as that. But
he was.
But he did
But
win.
would you take Pelini back then or take Scott Frost now? I would take Pelini.
I think they
back
take
then,
Pelini all day.
because Pelini was a lot closer than what they had, right? With Tom Osborne, Frank Solich, right? Frank Solich goes to Youngstown State. I think they would beg for Pelini.
Well, then he went to Ohio, right?
Yeah. Ohio, Youngstown. One of the two, Youngstown State, Ohio, or Ohio, Youngstown State. So, that's tough, right? And it's kind of the same thing with Butch Jones, right? You're firing a guy 8-9 win season, and you're saying that's not acceptable. acceptable because our history says we're better than that, right?
Right.
Same thing with Nebraska.
You're
Same
chasing that
thing with
history.
Tennessee. Right. You're chasing history, but when you look at the after fact, Jeremy Pruitt, right? People were begging for freaking Butch Jones back. Even with the dysfunctional bullshit, you knew you were getting 8 or 9 wins out of Butch Jones, and Jeremy Pruitt just oof. You know, if Derek Dooley didn't freaking almost end our program, and I'm on record saying it, I'm surprised that the University of Tennessee, as weird as this sounds, I'm surprised we still have a football team after him, because that was straight bullshit. That was rough to watch, dude. I've watched
it's amazing how much damage a coach can do, right? I mean,
exactly.
Like I watched the first 2 Hawaii games, and man, Todd Graham did a number on Hawaii, buddy. Oh my God, I mean, I think Timmy Chang's the guy he's going to get him right.
Chang is taking the brunt of that, right?
Man, they are bad.
You know, Timmy Chang was back in the day national.
He was the man.
He was the dude, right?
Yeah.
Before anybody else, slinging it all over the field. And I think it's unfair because the group before him just kind of run it in the ground, right? So
yeah, I think he'll get him right, but it's good. It's going to take time.
I think he will. I agree with you. I think he will get them right, but they're going to have to be patient. They're going to have to stick with him.
I got to say, if somebody hires Todd Graham after what he did to Hawaii, shame on them, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He was Derek Dooley 2.0 because he damn near destroyed that program.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just horrible. Just absolutely horrible. So I know it's Friday night. We usually do this on Tuesdays.
Mondays,
sorry. Mondays. We usually do this on Mondays, so we're kind of ahead of the game, right? But we want to thank Action 24/7, locally owned Gamble Insight for Tennesseans by Tennesseans. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, ping pong, darts, racing, Formula One, whatever you want to bet on, AAA baseball, they got you covered. Use our promo code Hollywood100 if you live in the state of Tennessee. If you bet $400, they're going to match it, right? So they're going to give you $400. So that's $800 to bet with. Even if this is not your first bet, you're still helping us out because we've got some recording costs with StreamYard and all these, Anchor and all this that we have to pay for. So we appreciate your support. So, go check us out. We get a kickback off of that. And we want to thank MFL.com, right? When you think of them, they're doing the NFL side, but with Devy IDP Grind, they are supporting our NFL side on Devy IDP Grind. So,
for the listener league.
Yes, for our listener league. So we thank them for that. They
Trophy
do a
Smack.
lot of good. Yes, Trophy Smack. Thank you. If you're crowning a league champion, baseball's closing to an end, but you got football underway now. You got basketball starting in a few weeks. You got hockey starting in a few weeks. Whatever you need, go check them out. They got plaques, belts, rings, trophies. They got anything you need to crown your league champion. They've been a big supporter for us, for Devy IDP League and our IDP Nation leagues. This kills me. Justice, he can tell you. He's a winner. He's got the bling bling, right? Good quality stuff, right, Justice?
It is.
I mean,
It's
nicely,
cool, man. Yes.
It's not cheaply made.
No,
It's
no.
good quality stuff. It's heavy.
It is
looks
heavy.
good. It is heavy. I was like, when I got these rings, I was like, wow, right? It's
Yeah. No, they're nice, right?
I've got
It's something different than a trophy, right? It's cool.
very heavy, nice quality, and it represents you being a champion, right? So, like I said, go check them out on our homepage at IDP Nation or idpnation.com. At the bottom, you can check our sponsors. Check them out, right? Go down there and click Action 24/7, Trophy Smack, MFL. We got some other ones down there. So we thank you for sponsoring us. Devy IDP Grind, ID Players of the Week for week 2, Justice.
Yeah.
Kind of some different names, right? So,
oh yeah, for sure.
For me, it was linebacker Jalen Ford from Texas against Alabama. They lost 20-19, but he had 10 tackles, 6 for solos, 2 tackles for a loss, a sack, and a quarterback hurry. The sack was a huge game-changing play, and the hurry was also a big play for them.
Texas really impressed me in that game, right? They should have won. The refs blew a safety.
Such bullshit.
Yeah.
Such bullshit. That was safety.
Bad. I don't know how you don't call that a safety.
Well, I get it that he wasn't down, right? I get
right, but then it's intentional grounding, and the ball never made it out of the end zone.
Exactly. They made the right call that he was not down in the end zone, but then but then
it's intentional grounding, right? I mean, it's got to be.
They completely.
The ball never made it to the line of scrimmage.
It up. And let's not even talk about the pass interference calls that they had, right?
Yeah.
So.
And then Ewers getting hurt, right? Ewers doesn't get hurt, they win that game.
Oh my God, yes. If Ewers. And I'm not blaming Alabama. Don't take this as me saying they were being dirty or.
Well, I mean I don't know. They played very undisciplined. They had 15 penalties.
But a couple of those
they had like
they did, but a couple of those hits on Ewers were straight legit.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like they played very undisciplined. Like
they did.
So many penalties. They had several unsportsmanlikes.
It was out of their norm, but the hits on Ewers were kind of.
Well, I think the problem with the hit on Ewers that hurt him was the fact that he drove him to the ground so hard, and I realize it's football and you ain't got but so much, but I felt like Turner had enough time to know the ball was gone. He could have let up a little bit.
Oh, come on, man. Don't be blaming Turner.
Well, that play's going to get called. That play, the way it happened, is going to get called every single time. The way he drove him to the ground.
I think so, too. They kind of neutralized Will Anderson, right? So the opportunities for Turner were there.
I almost think Anderson had 2 unsportsmanlikes. I could be wrong. I know he had 1 for sure. I thought he had 2.
He had a couple offsides. He was jumping the gun. It was like he was too eager. So Alabama definitely didn't look like their normal self, right?
No, they didn't look good at all.
Sarkisian had his team ready. Jalen Ford, I'm not going to take nothing away from him. He did what he needed to do.
Now, that Texas defense played great.
Oh, yeah, they played their ass off.
And then they let that one big run to Jace McClellan, and that was it.
Right. So Choppy, or Brock, his IDP player of the week was linebacker Drew Sanders for Arkansas. They played South Carolina this week and won 44-30. 11 total tackles, 8 solos, 2 sacks, 3 TFLs.
Sanders has been a beast, man, the first 2 weeks.
Yes, one hell of a game from him. Definitely worthy of a helmet sticker.
Yeah, and if he's a free agent in your league, you should be snatching him up.
Absolutely. All right, we're up to your player of the week.
So my player of the week was defensive end Derek Parrish from Houston. They lost to Texas Tech 33-30, but Parrish had 10 total tackles, 8 solos, 4 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble. And in some of my leagues, that dude scored 62 points by himself. And so that's a hell of a stat line for a defensive lineman.
Oh yeah, he was huge for them.
I mean, that Houston defensive line, all of them have played extremely well this year. They got 3 or 4 guys, and they are all playing really good.
Oh yeah, agreed. He played his ass off.
And again, he's a free agent. You're a free agent. You should be these guys. You should be picking up their free agents.
Listen.
Parrish was owned in all our leagues, so
he was. And just because me, Brock, and Justice are saying these names, and maybe you're in leagues with us, maybe they're gone right in our leagues.
Yeah,
but
our leagues are pretty deep.
That doesn't mean go. That doesn't mean to not go check your other leagues because
for sure.
I want to go back.
There was a league I was in. Drew Sanders was a free agent. I picked him up.
Right, and I want to go back to IDP Nation, which me and Kyle does, and we do our Patreon. So please check that out because there's some damn good IDP Devy stuff there. So we do the 101s, for the top tier, and we had a top tier Patreon, and he's with us, and we're going over his roster and who to cut, who to drop, who to start, who to not start. We're looking at his injured list, taxi squad, and he was asking whoever, and I said, well, who do you have on waivers, right? Because every league's different. Every league is different. So this is where the tie-in is. And he pulled up the league. And what up, Kyle? My boy.
What's up, Kyle?
Billy.
Big time. Mr. Big Time, right?
Mr. Big Time. Showing
Big
up
Time.
on Devy IDP. Look at him. Wow. I almost want to post the Wayne's World, we're not worthy post because that's what I feel like here, Mr. Big Time. Thank you, Kyle. But me and Kyle, coincidentally, he's listening. We're like, who do you have on waivers? And, we're trying to help our Patreon figure out who to pick up, who to drop. Micah Parsons was out there. Just
oh my gosh.
No, the way the league, and I get it because the way the league was set up and structured, it forced you to make decisions, right?
Right.
You couldn't hoard players or whatever. And I was like, as soon as he put that on the screen, me and Kyle both was like, oh my God, dude, go. I don't
You
quit listening to us. Go pick him up right now. So I know it sounds crazy when you say go check waivers, but
it happens, right? And and people get impatient, especially in the college game. After the first 2 weeks, the guy hasn't produced, they go cut him, right? And then so check to see who your league mates are dropping, right? Because you might find somebody there. Because people do seem to get impatient very quickly. And rightfully so. The college game's a lot shorter of a season, so if you can't go 0-3, 0-4 and expect to make the playoffs.
Right, and I think you said it right. Stop being impatient, and I'm guilty of the same thing.
Oh, we all are, right? We've all done it.
Especially when draft season comes around, right? Because you want the new shiny toy, you want the next best thing. You're looking at depth charts. You're looking at, like Kyle, he's a Green Bay fan, right? You've got Devondre Campbell, but you got Quay Walker. It's quick and easy to jump on him, right? But not every team is like
people get rookie fever.
Rookie fever, and that is
or in the college game, freshman fever.
rookie fever and freshman fever are.
It's a real thing too, man. People do.
It's such a freaking real thing.
Like you said, they always
look at Mr.
always want this new shiny toy, you know, chasing.
Hey, it's not
chasing,
me,
You're
Kyle.
chasing a dream. You're chasing hope, so to speak, you know.
Right. Kyle's telling me to stop with this Mr. Big Time stuff, but everybody knows. I mean, Justice knows. I mean, the whole.
I know, man. Like I got a Football Guys subscription. I was like, oh, Kyle's on Football Guys now, right? Yeah.
Yeah. See, he blames me for all this. He's like,
I get Kyle news in my inbox every morning.
Yeah. So yeah, he tells me to stop all the time, and I'm like, this is not me. I'm just putting it out there, right? Oh wow. So now we're getting into, and this is something you're doing, Justice. Thank
you want to talk about anything else about week 2? Any other observations? Like, I mean, I don't know. We talked about Nebraska. We talked about.
You know what? I do have an observation.
Well, we didn't finish talking about this. The Sun Belt Beast. They ODU beats Virginia Tech. Well,
that's kind of where I'm going with this. That's kind of where I'm going.
ODU beat Virginia Tech week 1. Marshall beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame last week. App State beat Texas A&M at Texas A&M.
The Mountaineers, baby.
Georgia Southern beat Nebraska at Nebraska. Like, I mean, Sun Belt. They're the Sun Belt Beast, baby.
So I'm glad you said that. Boom. So what have we talked about all off season, right? One of the big topics, big notes, me, you, and Brock has talked about Texas A&M, the way they've recruited
right?
for the past 1, 2, 3 years. We're in that 3-year range.
Yep.
Really? I get it. DeMarvin Leal.
I mean, App State's a good team, but they shouldn't be.
They are, but DeMarvin Leal got drafted to Pittsburgh Steelers.
But they brought in what, four 5-star guys,
and you lost
plus
Bobby
the ones
Johnson.
they already had.
Yes, you lost some pieces up front, right? Naturally, that's good. That's what you want to see. But you've had, just like me and you said, for the past 1, 2, 3 years, you have brought in 5-star after freaking 5-star, 4-star. I mean, defensive line, you have brought in more players than anybody in the country, right?
Yep.
Walter Nolan and Shamar Turner and just name after name after name. And you come out and put this product on the field. You can't stop the damn run against App State. And hey, nothing against Noel or
Cameron Peoples.
Cameron Peoples. Nothing against them, right? Nothing against them at all. But you put that product defensively, that front 4 on the field, and some of those youngsters didn't play. Ooh, that's a bad look. If I'm giving up that many yards and I'm putting the youngsters on the field quickly to see what they can do, because that's what App State did to you in the run game was ridiculous. Just, you should be ashamed. You should be an ostrich. Quit calling yourself Texas A&M Aggies. Call yourself Texas A&M ostriches, because you should straight bury your head in the dirt after what they did to you in the run game. Tell me I'm wrong, Justice.
No,
Tell me
you're right. Like, one of the best tweets I saw after that game was, it was a picture of a lineman. I think it was a lineman from App State, and it said, Texas A&M's out here recruiting 5-stars. Appalachian State's out here recruiting real Vikings. It was awesome.
Oh, just absolutely. And like I told you, I was watching when I got home from work, second half of the game, right?
Yeah, I was watching Bama, Texas, so I didn't see too much of it.
That was horrible. That was horrible. See, my dude Kyle, he gets it. Ostriches, he knows what I'm talking about. Bury your head in the freaking dirt. When you play like that.
But that's so Texas A&M, right? I mean, that's what they do. They'll lose a game like that and then go beat Alabama or Georgia.
I could not. I watched it this past weekend. I watched it the other day doing some stuff, and then I come home tonight after new orientation, and you said you were out doing whatever, and I was like, okay, I'll look, and the game was on, and I'm like, wow. There, with all these recruiting classes, 22, 23, 24, or 21, 22, 23, you're hanging your hat on that, and this is the kind of product you put out there.
Yeah,
that's
not good.
That's just freaking ridiculous.
Not a good look.
Just no.
They did make a quarterback change for this week, so maybe they'll do better. I don't know. They're starting.
Yeah,
they're starting.
That's going to help them.
Can't do any worse than Haynes King did last week.
No, but do you really think that's all on him, though?
Oh no, absolutely not. Like here's the thing.
I know we're a defensive.
The quarterback
podcast,
gets too much credit, and he gets too much blame. I mean that's just the way it is.
True,
right?
It's all about the star quarterback.
I mean,
right?
they're going to get too much credit and they're also going to take too much blame. But that's just the way it is.
Exactly. Good stuff. I hate it that Brock missed this because he'd be all fired up for this shit.
He'll be back with us on Monday.
We'll be back on Monday. So I kind of feel like we're already into your topic here, week 2 observations, right? I mean, Texas A&M, young guns, defensive line, trash, right? What are you thinking here?
What are they going to do, right? I mean, this is just so Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. You got to wonder how much longer he's going to be able to keep doing this because, like we were talking about was, Nebraska, right? Like Texas A&M expects results, right? They spent all that NIL money this year, and that's the
thing. That's the thing. The game changer has been the NIL, the money thing, right? And go back to what Nick Saban said, right? The shots fired at each other.
Yep.
Now we're kind of seeing, right? You spend that damn money and it don't pay out.
Right. Those people that put that money up, they want results, baby, and they don't get those results. So it's not going to be good.
It's one thing to have the name, to have the brand like Saban and whoever, right? But when you put it publicly, put it out there, what you're spending, NIL, that's a game changer. Jimbo Fisher, he better get his shit together real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick, because I'm telling you, that's
they have Alabama aspirations,
and it's cracking, right?
I mean,
you can hear
they're
the
expecting
ice
a national
cracking.
championship.
Yes,
for sure, an SEC championship,
and they're nowhere near that. They're not with what we've seen through 2 weeks. Tell me I'm wrong, Justice. They're fucking nowhere near that, right?
No. From what I've seen in 2 weeks, Georgia is head and shoulders better than everybody.
Georgia, Bama, and screw.
I don't know. Bama didn't look that great.
I think Bama's there. Bama has their issues.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree they're there, but I think Georgia right now to me looks like the best team in the nation.
I think so too. But I don't count out Bama. I don't count out.
I'm not
Saban.
counting them out, but yeah, for sure.
I think week 1, week 2, those two are head and shoulders above everybody else, right? Now, how close are those two? That's a different discussion, but those two are.
Bama's problem is offense, right? Is receivers and running backs, and
I don't think it's offense as a whole.
I think it's part.
Because they got Jamar Gibbs, they've got Jason.
Well, they got Gibbs, but they don't.
They got Brian.
I don't know. I don't know
if
Gibbs can't run between the tackles, or they don't want to run between the tackles because they're not using him that way. And then offensively, I don't think they have a speed guy, right? They don't have a speed receiver. like Jamison Williams was last year.
Jameson
And
Williams,
so
yes. I
I
think
think
that's the key,
that's
right? Their receivers.
I think
are kinda
all the
lacking.
receivers they got are kind of all the same mold, and that's kind
But I
of
think they're good at tight end with Latu or
yeah. I mean, and that's not to say the receivers aren't good players. I just think that they're all kind of the same type, right? They don't
and I
have
think
that
that's
speed
what
guy.
me and you're kind of saying here. I know we're IDP, but offensively they're missing that field stretcher, right? That
Yep.
big, long.
I think
deep
that's why they went and got Tyler Harrell, but I guess he's been hurt. The kid from Louisville,
right? And maybe they got this guy on their offense. We've just not seen it yet, or they've not developed him. Overall team, yes, Georgia's number 1. I think Bama's number 2.
Yeah.
Then I think there's a big drop.
There's a big gap
even
after
with
that.
even with your
Ohio
State
State didn't look good against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame lost to Marshall.
Right.
So.
Even with Michigan, even with Clemson, even with whoever.
They're all their next tier, but they're not on Bama and Georgia's level. No.
Exactly. So let's get into Fantasy IDP Corner Week 2 with Justice. You've done some good work on these spreadsheets, man. I know I've kind of been busy lately and haven't been able to do that. So I'm going to defer to you. And this is some of our Campus to Canton listener leagues, some that we're in together, some that you and Chops in together, or me and Chops in together, or just some that you have differently. So I'm going to let you lead the way here, man.
So, like, as you know, Fantrax isn't scoring IDP. And so,
you know what? F Fantrax, because they piss me off with their bullshit.
Well, they do, but at the same time, we also have to be gracious, right? Because at least they provide something, right?
I don't want to say, because you and Chop and good commissioners are doing your diligence and going beyond the extra mile, right? Y'all are looking these stats up. But if you'll notice, and I think we touched on this, when you're picking up players, right, on waivers, if you'll go to standard, they say, oh, we're not tracking tackles or whatever.
Yeah, but they're there. It shows them. Now, they're not right, but they're there. There's something
right,
there.
but it's something, right? It's something to go off of. So I think they're I guess the thing that kind of I'm glad they're not a sponsor of us because, pardon my language, fuck Fantrax. Because
here's the thing that baffles me. So, like, I built a tool to score the IDPs in the leagues I'm in.
And that freaking tool, by the way, is amazing, bro. You showed that to me, and
it's free, right? I did it for free. Like, I'm not paying a stat
Stop
provider.
Telling people that's a secret, dude.
And it's way better than Fantrax. Like, they should be ashamed of themselves. But we digress. So let's talk a little bit about the leagues. The first league we're going to talk about is the Devy IDP Grind C2C Listener League. So we're going to run down the top players in that league. And this league is a little bit different than the others because we start defensive ends, defensive tackles, linebackers, safeties, and corners. So the top defensive end this week was, hopefully I don't butcher the name too bad, Adetomiwa Adebawore from Northwestern. He's owned by the Seminoles, or our friend Dougie. If you're listening, Dougie, shout out to Dougie. And he scored 18 points this past week. The top defensive tackle was Tuli Tupeloto from USC. He was on Pittsburgh. And if you're a member of the Campus Canton website, you know Austin. That's Austin's team. He had 21 points. The top linebacker this week in the league was Drew Sanders of Arkansas. He's owned by UMass and FF Banterman with 33 points. The top safety was Quindell Johnson of Memphis. And our co-host who isn't with us tonight, Choppy, owns him. He had 28.5 points. And the top cornerback was Evan Williams of Fresno State, owned by Dwight Peebles of Campus Canton. And he had 24 points. The top IDP team score of the week went to our buddy Choppy again. with 203.6 points from his defense. The next league is a league that all three of us are in, me, Brock, and Hollywood. It's Campus to Canton League. The top defensive lineman was Jordan Birch of South Carolina, owned by Clemson. He had 20 points. Once again, the top linebacker was Drew Sanders, Arkansas, owned by Brock, 33 points. And the top defensive back was Quindell Johnson of Memphis, owned by Clemson, with 28.5 points. And once again, the top IDP team score was our buddy Brock, 140.5 points. His team is Nebraska in that league. Next league is a league that all three, me, Hollywood, and Brock are all in. It's called Fantasy Football Legends. The top defensive lineman in that league was Jordan Birch, South Carolina, owned by the Mean Machine with 20 points. Top linebacker was Cedric Gray from North Carolina, owned by the Springfield Isotopes with 27 points. And again, same safety / defensive back, Quindell Johnson from Memphis, owned by Timberwolves at 28.5 points. And finally, it's not Brock this time. The top IDP team score was my team, the South Park Cows, with 122.5 points. I will say this, those three leagues that we just went over, me, Hollywood, and Choppy are all in them. And I'm pretty sure me beating his team score this week in Legends, I'm one for 6. If you consider week 1 and week 2. So Brock has had the 5 out of 6. Brock had the top scoring defensive team. So
stop it. How dare you?
Got to give the guy props, man. His
the guy can't even show up for a podcast, and you're going to give him props? No way. Get the hell out of here.
This next league is a league that I'm in.
The Canton guys, Austin,
Dwight, Colin.
Screw them. You know what? They're offensive only guys. They have no business being in our IDP leagues. Not giving them any props. So. But no, seriously, go check those guys out over at Campus to Canton. And where I'm going with this is check out Campus to Canton. Check out our boy Justice. He's doing some amazing freaking stuff for them. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
That's huge.
So this next league is a league that I'm of the three of us, I'm the only one in this league, and it's a league with a lot of the Campus to Canton guys. It's called Toonland. The top defensive lineman in that league was Derek Parrish from Houston. Rocket Power owns him. He had 48 points. Top linebacker was Easton Gibbs from Wyoming, owned by the Gargoyles with 27 points. The top defensive back was Charlie Thomas, Georgia Tech, owned by the Thundercats at 28.8 points. Now, note about Charlie Thomas, he's a cheat code because he's really a linebacker, but he's got defensive back and linebacker eligibility on Fantrax. And then the top IDP team score was Rocket Power, Rob W. with 164 points.
And how huge, you kind of mentioned it, how huge is the cheat codes in IDP Devy, right?
Oh, they're huge, right? Like
people
think about offense, right? Because there are some offensive cheat codes, but defense, right, man, like there's a lot of them, especially like guys that play linebacker that are eligible at cornerback or
now, don't be telling no names. Don't be giving our secrets away. But yeah, I mean it's
like DeMarvion Overshown, like he's owned in a lot of leagues, but the dude's got linebacker, cornerback, and safety eligibility, and he's a linebacker.
Yeah, and you don't see that shit, right? You can play somebody at corner that's actually playing linebacker.
The boy we talked to South Carolina, Strachan, Jordan Strachan. He's got defensive line, linebacker, cornerback, safety. But he's hurt. He's out with ACL. But like it's crazy. Like you can play that guy at every single.
Yes.
I think the only thing he doesn't have is defensive tackle, but he's got end, linebacker, cornerback, safety. Like that's crazy, right?
And in college, the cheat code is so much bigger than it is in NFL, right?
I tell you what I like about the cheat code guys is not necessarily like, yeah, they're a cheat code to start them, but what I like is having that player on your team gives you a lot. It's like having two guys, so it gives you more
Yes.
flexibility in roster
Yes.
spots, like to cover buys and all that. To me, that's what I really like about it.
I kind of translate it to if you're a baseball fan, right? Because you got specific positions and then you got the utility guy. That's what this is. You know, you can play him as a linebacker, you can play him as a safety, you can play him as a corner, or you can play him as a linebacker, defensive end, defensive lineman.
Right.
Huge
gives you that flexibility. It's like extra. It's like it's free roster spots you're getting.
Right, and when you can find a star player that does that, that's huge. Huge.
Yeah. So as Hollywood was saying earlier, I write for Campus Canton, and one of the things I do every week is I post up the top IDP
I'm so
scores.
proud of you, bro. I'm so proud of you. No, seriously, because I started a new job, not to interrupt you. Started a new job this week, did the orientation all week long, and it's been freaking positivity, right? Anything we've done all week long has been positivity. I'm so freaking proud of you, man.
Thanks.
That's
man.
huge.
Yeah, and for all you guys that are IDP, like you need to let them know, like, hey, you appreciate the content, you want to see more content. That's how it's going to happen, right? Like, if you want more IDP content, you got to let these guys know, or else, maybe you got to let them know the value that you see in it, and that that it's helping you in your leagues, and so we can get more IDP content on the site. But as I was saying, every week I post up. It's actually 4 spreadsheets on the site with the top scorers, and it breaks down all the stats, and then I do a quick fantasy calculation, with using tackles and sacks, interceptions, that sort of thing. It's updated every week, and then this past week I added the recruiting information, which is huge for C2C leagues, right? So it's got the stars from 24/7 as well as their recruiting class. But here's 3 names. Here's the top scorers through week 2, or in some cases week 3, if they played week 0. So the top overall defensive lineman is Wesley Bailey from Rutgers with 42 points, and I'd almost guarantee you he is a free agent in every single league.
Yeah.
The top linebacker, who I hopefully is not a free agent because we've talked about him a lot, is Jackson Mitchell from UConn with 69 points. Now, Connecticut has played 3 games, but the dude is a beast, right? If he's not owned in your league, something's wrong.
Yes.
He is a college production monster.
And I like his NFL upside, right?
Yeah, I just don't know if he has the size, right? The size is what I worry about. He doesn't have
the size, but with the production.
But he's got everything else.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you think he's at least going to make the roster as a special teams guy, and maybe, he can do something with after that. The top defensive back, who I've seen actually get picked up some this week in our leagues, is defensive back Bentley Sanders from Nevada with 50 points.
You know what? And to touch on him, I kind of wrote an article, IDP Devy piece. He didn't have a whole lot of stat-wise tackles, whatever. But you know what he did have?
I think he's got 4 interceptions, right?
Another interception. 4
picks
got 4 in 3 games. That dude is a baller. And Nevada's going to keep him fantasy relevant.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if you notice, all 3 of these teams, all 3 top guys, they're not on great teams, right?
Right.
And
but that's the thing.
That's great for them because they've got a lot of opportunity on the defense.
So
they're on the field
teams that they should just straight be hammering, right? They're going to have to throw a lot, which is going to bring him back into fantasy relevance. Then you get into, which we're coming up on, his conference schedule, right? The Mountain West. they freaking throw the ball all over the damn field, right? Win, lose, draw.
Unless you're playing like Wyoming Air Force, yeah, the rest of the teams are slinging it.
Right. So I think, I wrote up, said, pick him up, add him to your team. He didn't do shit tackle-wise, but guess what he did have? Another interception. I think he's a straight baller from here on out. So definitely somebody I'm looking at picking up.
Yep. So that's it for the fantasy news this week on the IDP guys. So I think we're on to our 5-star topic,
which is, we're getting a little bit away from what we did last week because we've got Chops out and I've been busy. So we're looking at 2022 4-star edge, 27 edge overall, Joshua Joseph of Tennessee. So
6'3", 215.
Played a lot week 1, right, for Tennessee against Ball State. If you watch the game or go back and watch the game.
Mostly in the fourth quarter he played.
Right, but he made an impact right away with the screen, right? They tried to throw a screen, he deflected it. PBU, of course, it's Ball State, right? You're going to get your young guys in, which I think.
But it's good. It's good to see him play, get a little run.
Right, and I think you're going to see more of that this week because we play Akron, who Michigan State just absolutely freaking demolished, right? So I think you see more of the young guy play this week. Last week we didn't see so much out of him. And me and you kind of talked about this. Are they playing him more as an edge rusher?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like when I watched the film, like the high school film, and then now you didn't see this in the Akron game, but when I watched the high school film, I really think he's more of an outside linebacker than an end because if he's gonna play defensive end, I think he needs to get a little bit bigger.
Right.
But the thing he brings to the field is his versatility, right? I think he can drop back in coverage. He's long. He's got a big wingspan. He's got long arms. He is the definition of what I think even the NFL wants in defensive players is versatility.
I think so too. Yeah.
Now I'd like to see him gain a little bit more weight, get a little bigger, especially if he's gonna play more of the end than outside linebacker. But
right.
Do you want me to share Choppy's comments on him?
Sure.
Or you want to do it?
No, go ahead.
Choppy's thoughts on him. Well, maybe before we get to that. So like I said, he's 6'3", 215. He was a 4-star. His 24/7 composite score was 0.8993. As Hollywood said, he was ranked 27th at the edge position, and he was ranked 330th overall. So Choppy, noticed his size and his wingspan. Same comments as me. Says he needs to add weight and get stronger. He was impressed with his use of his speed and his athleticism. He has very good ability in coverage, good lateral speed. Again, Choppy noted the same thing that we've been talking about, his versatility. And he said that, he in high school, he held up against the run pretty well, but in the SEC, he's going to need to add weight.
So there's a big talent gap there, right? From high school to college.
Absolutely.
We talk about this at length, right? With recruiting.
But he didn't look like so out of place, against
he
Ball
did
State.
not, especially week 1, right?
Right.
They try to dump the screen over him, and he quickly recognized it, got his hand up, disrupted it, right? That's amazing for a true freshman. Because usually your true freshmen are sitting their asses on the bench.
That's the thing I noticed in his high school tape, right? Those long arms he uses them, right? It disrupts the passing lanes. He uses them in coverage to deflect the passes.
Now, you did touch on something. 6'3", he has the frame, but at 215?
215. He needs to add the weight.
That's super, super, super light for a defensive end.
For a defensive end.
Outside linebacker,
Even it's a little. It's probably
20,
a little
30
light.
pounds.
It's probably a little light for outside linebacker, but
It is.
Not like defensive end.
215. You put on 15, 20 pounds. You're 230, 235. You can work with that, right?
Yep.
And don't take me wrong here, but a la Brian Burns, right? Because he has that similar height, length, but a little bit light in the weight, right? A little bit light in the bucket. So I kind of think maybe that's where Tennessee really wants to play him.
Well, I think they want the versatility, right? That's what they want.
They do, but I think to play him at defensive end,
he's got to gain the weight.
He's really got to gain the weight. If you're a 215, you've probably, as good as I do, Justice, at 215, you probably got to gain what, 50, 60 pounds to put you at two.
I'd say he probably wants to be he needs to be at least 240, I think. I feel like to play end.
Well, if you gain 50, that's going to put you at 265, right? That's
but then maybe you're messing with his speed. I'd like to see him like at least 240.
Right, me too. I think if you can get 250 less, I think me and you, we're in the ballpark, right? We're on the same agreement. 250 more, then you're kind of changing things a little bit. And the thing with Tennessee is the depth charts, right?
Well, and I feel like he is very much the body type they've been recruiting, right?
Yes, but they're so talent deprived overall. I get you. I'm more with you. 250 under, add some weight. He's that outside guy that they're looking for.
Right.
But overall, roster-wise, if they can get him to put 50 on 265,
well, right, that's what I was like. It seems like they need to recruit. They're going to need to recruit some bigger guys.
Exactly.
They seem to be recruiting the same type of player a lot, but
and maybe that's
they're going to have some beef up front.
Right. Maybe that's where me and you are going here. Under 250, we like him outside. Over, we like him defensive end, but it's going to come down to the recruiting. And with their depth charts being so deprived, right, it's kind of forcing them to maybe
play him at
look at him. Yeah, look at him out of position. But if they can get some of these young guys in, Shadavian Bradley, some of those guys,
Tyree
then
West.
maybe, hey, exactly. Maybe you get him 15 pounds and put him at 230 and just let him roll, right?
Right. Because, to me, like right now, that's where he looks best. Is like at outside linebacker.
Absolutely.
Because of his versatility, his ability to cover, his ability to rush, that he's like a Swiss Army knife.
And I think week 1 was a perfect example. First game he's ever played in the orange and white, right? That's a big deal. You're playing at home on a Thursday night with the lights and the sirens going off and fireworks. That's a huge deal for a freshman. So for him to come out game 1 and let's face it, when you're a good pass rusher, what do teams do? They try to screen your ass, right?
Oh, yeah.
They want to slow you down. They want to slow you down. They want to make you think. And they do that to the Danielle
slow down
Hunter.
the pass rush.
Yeah, they do that to the Danielle Hunters.
Trying to make you think.
They do that to the best of guys. Danielle Hunter, Khalil Max, right? So true freshmen, hey, we see some things. Let's dump a little screen here.
Right.
And the fact that
use your aggressiveness against you.
Yes, and the fact that he could recognize that game 1, stop, and get your hand up. Yeah, should he have an interception? He probably should have. But the fact that he could process, stop, and get his hand up to knock that down, that's big. That's huge. So, I like Joseph. I really do. I know
he's got potential, right? I think
he does. He does. Now, Byron Young and the other My brain just went stupid. Byron Young.
Byron Young's the only lineman I can think of right now for Tennessee. There's
the
another
other
guy.
one.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I can't think. I'm so stupid. I feel dumb right now. But they have 2 starters at defensive end that they feel comfortable with. The depth behind them, I don't want to say trash, but it's just right? So if you can get a Joseph who can play as a true freshman and you can see the potential, stop, recognize, hand up, right? As a true freshman, that's huge. That's freaking huge. So
Tyler Barron.
Tyler Barron, yes, thank you. I mean, that's their 2 guys, right? Barron, Young.
Yeah.
Behind that, they don't have a freaking whole lot. So yeah. I like Joseph. I knew that in the spring, coming into the season, those were the 2 guys, Young, Barron, right?
Yeah.
I also knew that we were so talent deprived, defensive end, outside linebacker, what have you, that some of these young guys were going to get some solid looks. At the time, I did not know who, right? So I think it's Joseph. I think he got in early enough. I think he's done good enough in spring training or spring camp. If you're playing the long game, especially in IDP Devy, right?
Right. In a C2C league, like he's someone, I don't think you need to roster him, but he's someone you should keep an eye on, put him on your watch list.
Keep an eye on him, but if you've got some super deep rosters in IDP Devy or Campus to Cantons, go ahead and pick him up, right? Because I think the potential's there. So,
yeah, there was. I know we only did one guy this week. I watched 4 guys over the past week, and it seems like the guy you picked, Joseph, and the guy I picked were very similar. And we'll talk about the others, in the coming weeks. But
right, and I had, like I said, I transitioning to a new job this week, so I had a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think it's hard
time,
enough. It's hard for me to watch all 3 guys, so I know it's hard for you and Chop. So
right, but I do agree with you. I think
one or
the guy
moving forward.
Joseph and the guy that you watched are very, very similar, right?
Popeye Williams,
very similar.
Now, I would say the difference, though, they're very similar size-wise. Popeye Williams, I never saw him in coverage. I think he's probably a better pass rusher than Joseph's, but Joseph's is way better in coverage. But size-wise, they're like spitting image of each other.
And I kind of think when we go back so deep, like when we kind of dig into high school tape or true freshmen, you're seeing their natural true talent, right? But when you get into that college, sophomore, junior season, right, you want to see, can they drop in coverage? Or if they're a coverage guy, can they rush the passer? So I think college really brings that secondary,
right? Because you get a lot more comfort with the level of competition, right?
Right.
Like we talked about Nicholas Harbor. Like it's clear his level of competition in high school is not good. Right. And so, and not to say that Joseph's isn't. His is definitely better than Harbor's. But at least you get some validation when you see them do those same things in college because they're playing at a higher level.
And I think the thing with Joseph is the depth ahead of him.
There's plenty of opportunity.
The depth ahead of him allows for more volume, which allows for more production quicker, right? Even if you can put up with some of the mistakes as a true freshman or whatever you want to, however it is early, you can kind of allow for that because the depth chart is just such trash. And right now, Tennessee's is. They have a pretty solid repertoire starters, right? But when you get in that second and third string, it's freaking rough. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
So to kind of see Joseph do some things as a true freshman, and maybe it's just one or two plays, right? But you have to think most freshmen or true freshmen, they're being redshirted. Yeah, they're not even getting on the field. Exactly. They're not even getting on the field. They're not even getting this experience. And like we were talking about with my new job, right? Fearless and fair. You know, it's easy to. I work for Keurig Dr. Pepper now, right? So most jobs I went to, you train a couple hours, videos, fill out paperwork, half a day at the most. They're throwing your ass out on the floor and saying, go get it, right? And that's not what this week, that's not what I've spent 5 days in a training room, never even seen the floor. We did one walkthrough, but, you know, they're going over safety. They're going over this, and they're saying, this is what we want you to do. I think that kind of translates.
Well,
you know,
that's anything in life, right? You're a product of your environment, right? So you want to have a good, regardless of what it is, work, football team, whatever, you want to have a good positive environment, and that's going to do nothing but, you know, and improve everything, right? It is kind of like that's the foundation.
Right. And he was making no ambient noise, therefore exactly. So, great week.
I did want to ask you something. What's your thoughts on?
No, go ahead.
Tennessee guy Beasley at Tennessee. Was it Aaron Beasley?
You know what?
He's been doing pretty good.
If you would have asked me this question last year, I would really have told you to kind of piss off with him. It just wasn't there, right? Jeremy Banks was the guy, even on going back to what I said, such a talent-deprived roster, Beasley wasn't doing a whole lot, right? You got Jawan Mitchell, the transfer from Texas, kind of got some injury issues. Everybody thought, oh, he's going to be the guy next to Banks. Never happened. Didn't play a freaking
Beasley. It's been Beasley.
snap.
Beasley's been the man.
Fast forward to this year, 2 games. Aaron Beasley's played his ass off.
Yep.
And he's been one of the top 3 tacklers in the SEC. Which is huge. Now, Tennessee's kind of, right, finding their way. But you've got Jeremy Banks, who's given his heart and soul, just playing his ass off. And now you got Beasley coming in next to him. Yeah, I mean,
to me, it's going to be hard for him to put Mitchell out there when he gets healthy, right? Because Beasley's playing that good.
I think so, too. And kind of what I have been hearing, you nailed it, right? Not that Mitchell is bad, but he's going to have to play his way back in to a starter, right? You got Banks, you got Beasley. There's an opening third guy there.
And I think Beasley, again, unlike Mitchell, probably gives him a little bit more versatility, right? As far as coverage and all that Mitchell doesn't necessarily possess.
Right, and that's the whole thing. Maybe he doesn't overtake Beasley, but you know this. The SEC is elite, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can't play SEC football with just 2 linebackers. You can't freaking do it. You're going to have depth. Even if you're Alabama, you got to have Alabama,
right?
Georgia.
I mean,
you got to have freaking
there's
depth,
probably
right?
There's 4 or 5 5-stars on Alabama bench, not even sniffing playing time.
Exactly. So you got to have, Bama, Georgia, best in the league, best in the nation. You got to have that depth, and I think that's kind of where Mitchell comes in, right? Highly
Yep.
touted from Georgia or Texas. There's opportunities there for him to start, but there's also opportunities there for him to be impactful, especially with the Vols' depth, right? So, if you've got room to take a flyer,
I did. I picked him. I picked Beasley up in a league. He was available.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would pick Beasley up because I think he's one of the top 3 tacklers in the SEC right now. But
and on Fantrax, he's a cheat code. He's got deep defensive back eligibility.
Yes. And if you've got the depth in a super deep league, I don't know that I wouldn't pick Mitchell up because I think there's some opportunities there.
Right.
Pump the brakes, be patient, but they're coming. So, but yeah, definitely love Beasley. Banks he's just a freaking madman. He's me, right? He's my spirit animal. He don't give a shit, screw your freaking personal fouls and whatever. I'm going to line up and punch you in the mouth, and I think he's amazing. So I think he's learned to tone that down a little bit for Tennessee, right? He's learned, hey, I can't go out here and get 15-yard personal foul penalties every other week. I got to dial it back a little bit. But at the same time, let me be aggressive. Let me be me. Let me
can't be Devontae Burfict of Tennessee.
God. Oh, my God, Justice. If you knew how much I love Vontaze Burfict. Because he'd
get the worst penalties at the worst times. Oh my God!
Exactly. Did he push the envelope? Yes, he did. But my God,
well,
he
and
would light your ass up.
The biggest problem was with him was he would do it at the worst time possible, and so it hurt. The
same
team.
thing with
with
Jeremy Banks, right? You play a clean game, and all of a sudden, personal foul penalty at the worst time. Perfect example. I don't think either one of them were dirty players, right? I really don't. I think they were super aggressive and maybe pushed the envelope a little bit, but I don't think they were dirty. Times have changed, right? Yeah. You can't do some of the things you did back in the 2010s, 2000s, 90s, whatever. So you got to be a little bit more smarter about it. But yeah. Wow. Good analogy, man. Look at you.
To say my boy Jason Henderson had another great week. ODU linebacker. I think he had 15 tackles this past week.
That dude's straight balling.
He is.
He is balling his ass off right now.
I mean, against East Carolina, the offense didn't really help him out too much. I mean, I think time of possession was like 40 minutes to like 15 or something. And so the defense was on the field way too long, and you could tell. But Jason Henderson, man, that kid can play. If he's a free agent in your leagues, you need to pick him up because he is going to produce for you on the college level for sure.
Absolutely. I think we covered everything, right?
ODU plays Virginia tomorrow. Another big game for them.
What's the spread?
It started off like Virginia by 13, and it's down to like Virginia by like 8.5. So all the money's coming in on ODU.
Son of a bitch. 8.5. I still not.
I can't do it. I can't do it anyway because we're not allowed in Virginia. You can't bet on Virginia schools, but
right.
I don't ever bet on
8.5
teams anyway.
8.5 is kind of pushing it, but if for some reason
the problem is the offense, right? The ODU's offense has not looked good at all.
Yeah, but look what they did to Vautech. I think
but Vautech had Grant Wells threw 4 interceptions. They hiked the ball over the holder's head for a scoop and score, and And I mean, like I was at the game. It was a great game. I was so happy ODU won, but we won because Tech fucked up. That's why we won.
What did you say the spread was?
I thought it started off like 13. I thought it was like 8.5 now.
Ooh, you know what? Son of a bitch.
I haven't checked
8.5.
lately, but I
If
know
I
it's
could-
come
if I
down
could
quite a
get
bit because all the money's been on ODU, especially after Virginia looked so bad last week against Illinois.
and it's going to continue to come down, right? So I think if you can get them,
The same thing happened when they played Tech. It started off at a big number and it just kept coming down. Now last week it didn't happen when they played East Carolina, but East Carolina's a good team. They should have beat NC State week 1.
yes, they should.
They had a missed field goal and a missed extra point. They should have won that game.
You know what I think? If you can get ODU 9.5, 9, I'll say 9 or more. I think you take them. I don't know if you can still get those odds. But
the offense just scares me, man. Like our game plan last week against East Carolina I didn't like it. It was throw a bomb or run it up the middle. Throw a bomb or run it up the middle. And we didn't run it a lot, man. I think we didn't have positive rushing yards till the fourth quarter. But then you see Ali Jennings had 5-6 catches for 186 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns because Hayden Wolf just keeps looking to throw bombs. I don't know. Like I like that, right? It's kind of like the Oakland Raiders back in the day. Run as fast as you can. I'm gonna throw it up deep. But you gotta have that short intermediate game, right? Because if the run game's not working, then at least that short intermediate game can kind of act like a run game and help with time of possession.
I agree. Man, I'm gonna have to look at this tomorrow when I get up and see what the number is. But if it's right, now it scares me that everybody's going ODU, right? That kind of wants me to
go the other way.
Kind of puts me off, right? Because the money may be ODU, but the actual bet may be the other way. So I'm gonna have to get up in the morning.
I'm a terrible bettor, so don't ask me, man. I'm terrible. So I don't do it.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not best either, but I think if you can get ODU 9+, 9.5+ or more, I think you take that, especially if you can get it in double digits, right? If you can get 10, 10.5, smash that all day. Because I think they're.
I mean, I did win some money last week on your boys early in the game.
First quarter.
What were they down? 10-0, 14-0, something like 13-0, something like that.
I don't know, but if you're,
but they were down, they were down, and they were getting 8.5 points. I would bet live betting, and so I bet $20. I won $20.
I would hammer that again this week. First quarter, Tennessee, whatever that number is, because Tennessee, whatever it is in that first quarter, they're world beaters. Now, the second quarter was the problem last year, right? So, but they've been better this year. But definitely take Tennessee first quarter, whatever that's.
I think last week Tennessee was a 6.5 point favorite, and then at one point they were an 8.5 point dog, and that's when I started betting them. And like I said, I won $20. So,
hey, $20 is $20, and I would do that again this week. First quarter over Tennessee, smash it, because that first quarter they're on fire. But damn, hell of a week, even without Brock. So be sure to go check out our players of the week. Right, I tweeted those out earlier. Go check those guys out. I even added them, so hopefully we'll get some feedback from them, plus you. As always, please rate, review, and subscribe. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio. You can watch us on YouTube, right? If you're watching us now, you can watch us live, or you can go back and do it later.
Right, we got an interview coming up Monday before we do the podcast, right?
Yes. So next Monday, we're scheduled to do another podcast, and we do have an interview set up. So please tune in and check us out. Give him some love. Give us some love. Let everybody know. That's how we go, right? The more y'all thumbs up, 5-star, feedback.
Right, another guy from Sam Houston State, right?
Sam Houston State, and it's going to be Trevor Williams, right? Converted safety to linebacker.
FCS All-American, I think.
FCS All-American. Really good player. They're off this week, which kind of times in with our interview, but go check them out.
They played Texas A&M week 1, right? So
they did play Texas A&M.
Interesting to hear his thoughts on that.
Yeah. Go check them out. I mean, that's a tough jump from Division II to Division I, and playing.
Right. Well, they'll be jumping up to FBS next year. I think they join Conference USA next year.
Yep. So be sure to tune in and let everybody know that we're gonna do that interview. Check them out. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Check us out on Twitter, all that good stuff. So
check out IDP Nation. Check out Campus to Canton.
IDP Nation, yes, please. You can give us 5-star.
Join your Patreon, like you said.
Yeah,
you got a lot.
Go to IDP Nation, right?
A lot of college content on that Patreon. I think we'll be putting our player profiles up there when we talk about these incoming freshmen and high school recruits. You're gonna get player profiles in that Patreon, so it's definitely worth it. You have access to Hollywood, have access to me, you have access to Mr. Big Time.
Right. Yep. Go check us out, idpnation.com. Got a lot of stuff going on there. As Justice said, the Patreon, right? If you're a true IDP Devy guy, you're going to want to hit that top tier. I've got ads, all kinds of stuff, rankings, kind of updating them as we go.
The recruiting player profiles we're doing will be on there.
Yep. And I'm working with Justice. I know me and him's kind of behind the scenes, so I don't know how quick we'll get this done. But he's come up with a thing where it's updating stat-wise instantly. So maybe me and him can, in the near future, we can get this going on. I know he's got a lot going on. Real life, me with the job change and everything, we can do that. But rankings, articles, check out Justice over at Campus to Canton.
Yep.
Big props to you, man. That's huge. That's huge.
Thanks.
Don't laugh, man. That's huge. That's huge.
It is. I mean, I enjoy it, right? So, I don't know. It's not a big deal to me. I enjoy it.
It is a big deal. It is you know what? And I say this because with the orientation I've done this week, right? This is an orientation that I've never, ever been through. Keurig Dr. Pepper. That's who I'm working for. And they promote positivity. They promote this. And one thing that I took away from that was, you can throw a boulder in the ocean and the ripple effect is big, right? So you're looking at queens and kings and CEOs and this, but don't underestimate us small guys, right?
Oh,
Me and
absolutely not.
We throw a pebble in the lake and it may have the same ripple effect, right? maybe on a smaller scale, but it has the same ripple effect. So, yeah, man, that's huge. Huge for you being
and like to me, like the thing about it is like, and like I'm sure the same thing for you is like, it's number one, helping others, right? And trying, trying to grow the sport, if you will, right? Grow the IDP side, grow the college side. That to me, that's what it's about, right? Because that's what I enjoy about it, right? It doesn't matter to me who it's for or who I'm doing it for, right? Because I'm not necessarily doing it for them, so to speak. I'm doing it for the people that use it, right? And
right. And that's what I tell Kyle. I don't
it.
give a crap what people think about me and Kyle, right? Our banter or whatever, as long as we're helping.
Right. It's about helping those people, right? Yep.
Right. Not everybody has to like it, but as long as we're helping somebody, hey, I'm good.
Absolutely.
Check out Justice over at Campus to Canton. Be sure to tune in each week to Devy IDP Grind, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
YouTube,
Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, YouTube. You know, if you can't find us there, check us out on our Twitter handle, right? At Devy IDP Grind. Go over to IDP Nation. I know that's more NFL oriented, but we're doing a lot of stuff IDP wise. And go check out the Patreon. We've got a lot of big stuff there. Please follow us when we do our interviews. I know that's some stuff that's coming up there. We've put, man, I was thinking about this today. Bryce Huff, Memphis, plays for the Jets, defensive end. Cam Gill played for Wagner, right? Who's Wagner? You know what? He won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a couple of years ago, and he's still there. Shamar Jean Charles, cornerback for Green Bay. You've got Zion McCollum, right? Cornerback for Tampa Bay. And I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, shoot. I don't know who it is. But they may seem like small names, but what did we just say? Small pebble, big ripple, right?
Yep.
This is how we grow. So help us promote, spread the word. We're working on bigger and better things. We got a couple interviews coming up. Again, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to our podcast, YouTube, and all that. We'll be back next week.
See you Monday.
Brock will be back with us, and we'll be more in tune on schedule. Good show, Justice.
Yes, sir. Great night. Friday night football tomorrow.
Friday night, yeah. Friday night.
Looking forward to it.
I can't wait. Go Vols.
Go Monarchs.
We're going to beat Akron's ass tomorrow.
I hope we beat UVA tomorrow. ODU can be the champions of Virginia this year. We play Tech, we play UVA, we play Liberty, and we play JMU. So we play all other Virginia FBS schools. So if we can win all those, be the champions of Virginia.
It's weird because Tennessee's been down for a while, right? Kind of like Nebraska or whatever. The hype builds everything up. When we won last week and the spread come out a couple of days later, we were a 50-point spread. And I heard it on the radio, and I was like,
that's a lot of points, man. I'd have to be taking Akron. That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points, right? And they were like, even the radio announcers were like, I don't know the last time Tennessee was a 50-point spread. Now, I do like the odds in Josh Heupel because he's a gunslinger. He's going to go for the gusto.
To me, this could be like a 40-something to 7 game, maybe.
No. You don't think I was thinking, no, because Michigan State beat them last week 55-56 to nothing.
Okay. And your offense is definitely better than Michigan State.
Tennessee's going to hang a 60 burger on them. They're going to hang a 60. That shit's happening. 60 plus our offense happens. We do have some deficiencies, right? Things we got to work on. So I'm thinking 63 to like 9.
I mean, I can see them scoring somewhere between 3 and 10.
And maybe they get a lucky touchdown because our secondary is kind of off. So 63-9, 65-10. I think we cover because it's
That's
at
still a lot
home.
of points,
right?
man. I couldn't be betting 50 points. That's a lot of points.
It's at home on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I can't do that, but 60 points at home or 50 points at home on a Saturday night against the team that got shut out last week. Michigan State shut them out. 55-56-0. I don't know that Tennessee won't do that again, but we do have a few things. I do think Tennessee covers, and it's going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly quick. So,
Start your
whose
Hendon
OD you
Hookers
got?
UVA, Virginia.
Ooh, let's go Monarchs.
That's
I
right.
might have to go check that. I might have to go check that. What's the spread? Damn, I might have to go check that out.
I don't know. It's like 8.5, I think. Last I looked. So
8.5. Ooh.
it's at Charlottesville though. So
You know what? Eesh. Damn, I might take that if the odds is right. Of course, our good buddy Choppy Brock.
he'll be at the Nebraska-Oklahoma game.
Nebraska. Ooh.
Go Huskers.
Go Huskers. And I mean that. Go Huskers. Ooh. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a tough one.
Yep.
But send us all your questions. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Spread the word. Let everybody know. We'll be back next Monday.
Yep.
We got the interview. Then we'll do the podcast recapping the previous week. Week 3. Can't wait. With that said, later.
Peace.